think neurodiversity is just like, it's like a fingerprint, you know, like I think anyone's brain is diverse. And I think for the most part, we've tried to say, you know, there's normies and diversies, whatever the two labels are. To me, I mean, it's just, it's all like a fingerprint, the way the brain works in my head. It's like every time I hear people talk about these labels at the moment, it's almost like it's an excuse, you know, like it's like, oh, I can't do this cause blah.
I feel like we've got two ways we're going to go with the way people are using AI. It's going to make us smarter or dumber.
So my favorite one at the moment is get a bit of a plan, and then we kind of get a plan together. Then my favorite next move is to get the AI to give me a pre-mortem. Mm-hmm. Why, when we execute that plan, is it going to fail? Why is it going to fail?
You know, we went through the agriculture boom where we made wealth through our bodies, through the land that we owned. Mm-hmm. And then we built cities, and we made the next level of wealth was made from our minds. With AI coming in and, you know, taking some of that cognitive load, and if we use it correctly, then we are going to be in places where we are just making our genius even bigger and having bigger of an impact. And I believe that the next piece is going to be an emotional intelligence. We've had the body, we've got the mind, we've built the cities, and now it's going to be around the emotional intelligence. Roscoe!
Yo.
Thinking. The word thinking is the process of considering or reasoning about something. And used as an adjective, it's using thought or rational judgment and intelligence. And when I think about the word thinking, you come to mind. In the short period of time that I've gotten to know you over the last sort of 6 months, really, more deeply, and knowing of you over the last year, I have a deep respect for you and how your brain works. And it has been super important for me to have the experience of meeting somebody whose brain is like yours, which feels sort of like mine. And that has been profound for me in my own growth. So, how are you? What's been happening? Tell me about you.
I'm good. It's good to be here. It's been a time of thinking for me. So it's good time to be talking about this. I've spent the last couple of months digital nomad mode, which has been fun, and really been super focused, like blocking out a lot of noise and doing a lot of thinking. So yeah, very timely conversation.
And your book has just come out?
Yeah, I just dropped A Player Brains, so that's fun. Excited to see what people do with that in the world, and I'm already a couple of chapters into the next one, to be honest.
Awesome, of course. So one thing I wanted to talk to you about is, because we've had lots of sort of conversations, whether it's been at Imaginate in the event that we've run that you were part of, or just when I randomly stayed at your house with your amazing family. Neurodiversity. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on it?
So I'll start at the start. I think if you put anybody in front of a labeling machine for long enough, they're going to get a label stuck on them. And I think we over-pathologize right now. And also, I think neurodiversity is just like, kind of like, it's like a fingerprint, you know, like I think anyone's brain is diverse. And I think for the most part, we've tried to say, you know, there's normies and diversies, whatever the two labels are.
Yeah, you've got neurotypical, neurodiverse.
Yeah. And to me, I mean, it's just, it's all like a fingerprint, the way the brain works in my head. It's like you've got unique, and not just like is the brain itself unique, but all the experiences, like the direct experiences you've had are so entirely different to mine, you know, and the same for everyone. So I think the shape is a result of the state we're in, the feelings, the beliefs, all the things, and also then the DNA, the genetics, what does your DNA say? You know, like all those kind of things. So, I mean, at the end of the day, neurodiversity to me, unfortunately, I think is the biggest excuse of our time to not be your full self. Like I was literally sitting in a park with my kids yesterday. They were going down the zip line, they were having fun. And I just took a breather for a minute because I was kind of exhausted after playing with the kids for a few hours. And I'm sitting there, I'm listening to these like mums just kind of in the distance talking and going like, yeah, I'm ADHD, I can't keep up with this and that. And it's just like every time I hear people talk about these labels at the moment, it's almost like it's an excuse, you know? Like it's like, oh, I can't do this cause blah. or I can't do this because da-da-da-da. And it's like, huh?
Mm.
Yeah.
I truly believe we're in a time where it's the death of neurotypical. And so I feel like what we had as a box to fit in is disappearing. And that's exciting. Though at the same time, I feel we are in a space where labels are important to help people make sense of themselves or to make sense of things. Though it's at that point where do we use that as information to move forward and progress, or to stay where we are, or the excuse as to why we are where we are. So I feel like it's important for people to make sense of, because a lot of people were, I'm lazy, I'm this, I'm too loud, I'm too much. And a lot of the limiting beliefs that we've created around I'm not being good enough, I'm not worthy, it's because we don't fit into this definition of a box that was created as we grow. And now more and more people are getting diagnosis about being neurodivergent in whatever way that is, autism, ADHD. I have those labels. 3 years ago when I was diagnosed, that made a lot of things make sense to me. And I could easily use it as an excuse.
Yeah. Yeah, excuses, justifications, or self-shaming is the other way, like that it gets used as a mechanism of going, I can't do that because I can't do that. But we don't live in that age. We live in the age where you can do anything.
And you, out of anybody that I know, has taken how your brain works. And I remember one time when we were going through your report cards when you were younger and we realised, Rossco's always been Rossco. But you've taken...
I was packing up house like 3 months ago.
Yes.
And I was going through the boxes,
And you've taken, the way in which you work and how your brain works, and then utilised AI, artificial intelligence, whatever people want to talk about. But you've created this system on how to capture your brain and its genius, and how to make it even more efficient, how to make it even more productive. So can you speak into that? Because I feel like we've got two ways we're going to go with the way people are using AI. It's going to make us smarter or dumber.
Yeah, so the way in which I think about this is I want to use it as a way to sort of like jump into the deep end on things. So cool way to actually kind of frame this is the last few weeks, the jobs I did were extremely different and not jobs that I'd done before. So one of the jobs I did was I grabbed 300 odd building quotes from a builder, flattened all the files down into like CSV, so like, spreadsheets, and ran it through a whole bunch of quantitative processes, and then came out with an algorithm as to how these quotes were done, like the unconscious made conscious into an algorithm, and that's called quantitative analysis. And the process I did took me a little less than 12 hours. It would have taken a team from like McKinsey & Co., like top end of consulting firms, 394 hours to do the same amount of work. And so that was one thing, and I just used my methodology, which is apply brains, to like put my head into that expert role, do the thing, and then obviously use AI to do it. And then simultaneously, like the next day, I'm like coding a front end and a back end of a website, and I'm not a coder. Like I do not understand code, but I'm like doing all the steps because I can orient myself through the tools, through the set of expert lenses, and through the mental models that I have, I can kind of lead anyone through anything. So the beautiful thing that I do have from my past is like leading a team through really uncertain sort of industry. So like being the CEO of a crypto startup with like 28 team members, they're all trying to do stuff that's very, very difficult and bleeding edge. So I can kind of like, I treat the AI as like mini employees, like, and I'm like, oh yeah, that is difficult. Okay, but what if you try this and this and this and this? It gets to where it needs to go. I don't know if I answered the question, but basically what I do is I use it like an augmentation or a mech suit, like a exoskeleton for my brain that helps my brain be stronger is essentially how I utilize it.
So how would a normie translate what you've just said?
It's just, it depends what does the normie want to do? Give me some sort of thought experiment here.
So say that they've got a business, it might be a retail business, and retail trade is going up online but dying in person, and they're trying to work out, do I re-sign the lease for my shop or do I go all in online, just as an example?
So I'd start with who's the experts that you want to think through the eyes of. So like when I look at a problem, like that one, I go, who's the set of experts I'd like at the table? So the first question is who do you want at the table?
Mm-hmm.
And it might be, a management accountant. It might be a business consultant. It might be a this. It might be a that. And that's the first thing I do is figure out who is going to be at the table. You can ask the AI that as well, obviously. And then I'd start looking at the situation through their lens. So I'd unpack the situation. I'd give full context. Like tell the AI the setting, the circumstances, and then ask it to tell you a transcript. So this is a good sort of cheat code. A transcript of that expert telling you what they do in that situation, and you can just read transcripts from 3 or 4 or 5 different experts, and then that'll give you a sort of an idea of a move, a game plan, a set of ideas. And then you can start to look through some other mental models to kind of like battle test it. So my favorite one at the moment, this is my favorite kind of couple of 2-3 punch, is get a bit of a plan. Like we said, who's the experts at the table? We figure out we've got these 3 or 4 experts. And then we kind of get a plan together. Then my favorite next move is to get the AI to give me a pre-mortem. Mm-hmm. Why, when we execute that plan, is it going to fail? Why is it going to fail? And then it'll give me a whole bunch of like, it'll fail because of X, Y, Z, da 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 da. And then the next step, so pre-mortem is the second step there. The third step is using the principle of inversion. How can we make a critical path that will enable us to make that plan not fail? So I don't know if you know this, but Einstein used to say that basically the way to figure something out is to go is not to try and objectively like kind of figure it out. It's to figure out what's the exact opposite of it. It's quicker to use the principle of inversion to figure out an answer. And by doing that, you're just getting like exponentially better. Sort of like you're getting the AI to not only come up with the idea from like a multiple set of lenses, you're getting it to say, why would that fail? And then you're getting it to turn that inside out and create a plan that's kind of like almost battle tested. So it's like gone through 3 or 4 iterations by the time you're actually going, okay, that's a cool move, you know, like much stronger.
And so how do you think AI, how do you think people are using AI in ways that are detrimental to them?
I see AI as like a super intelligent child and you're the parent. Mm-hmm. And it's your job to observe the AI's moves and sort of understand its orientation. The people who don't understand its orientation, and you're not going to always understand its orientation, but for the most part, the people who don't understand their orientation are just using it like a Google and just depending on its answers. That's pretty dangerous. The kind of thing where you need to objectively like look at everything that comes out of it and go, do I agree with this fundamentally, and I think if you just it literally will echo what it thinks you want to hear, so it's going to gaslight you, into your own beliefs, which can be a great thing. Like that's a double-edged sword, right? Because if you have a low self-worth, low self-esteem, and you kind of want to gaslight yourself into a good state, you can do it with it. But simultaneously, if you've got if you've just got your head in the clouds and you're not on track, then it's going to exacerbate that too. So, yeah.
Do you believe in?
It's about as trustworthy as mainstream media.
Okay, that's a whole different conversation. Do you believe that there will be a $1 billion company that's a one-man band?
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'll be one man, but it'll be 10,000 AI employees. Mm-hmm. It'll be one puppet master.
And how do you think that affects? How do you think that affects our current, I guess, capitalist society and people's job security and those sort of things that a lot of people are worried about?
I don't think I have the best answer to this anymore. Like, I'm genuinely concerned for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the fact that I can do the work of 394 consulting hours in less than 12 hours, or that I'd switch gears and do, like, I built something recently that took my team of, like, it took a team of 8 developers that I was leading 6 months to build something, and I built it in 2 days on my own recently, and I'm not a developer.
Uh-huh.
You know, like, I'm like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know that I have the answer for this, but I think the most important thing that we focus on is those that have the intellect to build right now, build, like, with a ridiculous amount of volition, because you know, the playing field's been leveled. It's the era of the idea guy or girl.
Yep.
And, you know, some of them are going to rise, and some of them, like, it's going to be a bubble, and a bunch of them
as it
will
is
fall.
when the interwebs was released
For
and all
sure.
of those sort of things.
For sure. And my personal values and stuff around this is like, I hope as many people as possible who like playing win-win games, who have some sort of regenerative business model,
Values level 5 and above.
yeah, who want to, like, think about things without scarcity theater. You know, they want to play games in a way that's like, okay, cool, this is interesting. Yeah, that's who I hope plays the game. That's why I'm like crazy, playing all the time at the moment, because I'm like, it's a moment in time.
So one of my beliefs or patterns that I see playing out in humanity is, you know, we went through the agriculture boom, where we made wealth through our bodies, through the land that we owned. Which is very much sort of like values level 3 to 4 transition. And then we built cities, and the next level of wealth was made from our minds.
Yep.
With AI coming in and, you know, taking some of that cognitive load, and if we use it correctly, then we are going to be in places where we are just making our genius even bigger and having bigger of an impact. And I believe that the next piece is going to be in emotional intelligence. So the next level of wealth comes with emotional intelligence. So we've had the body, we've got the mind, we've built the cities, and now it's going to be around the emotional intelligence. And the reason I say that is, one, it matches Dr. Claire Graves' framework of values levels. Though also when I look at education system, and when I look at what the thinking model has done, so we've been in the mind for this part of our evolution, and I see how many people are stuck in thinking, feeling loops. If we talk about NLP, that's an 80K loop. But in this regards, talking about, you know, they're stuck or lost. And I find that people who are stuck are in the details, and the people who are lost are in the abstract. And we talk about hierarchy of ideas as a model for that in NLP. But the thinking, feeling loop, I feel like we're in this transition between we're thinking, but we don't actually know how we're feeling. And then we're using what we think, what we feel, instead of what we actually are feeling versus what we think. So I think we're in this piece of being stuck. Yeah. And a lot of people are then going through the personal development journey and discovering and trying to make sense of that.
Yeah.
And then getting even further stuck or more lost, dependent on who or how they've gone and who's been with them on that journey. What are your thoughts about, one, the next level of wealth being around emotional intelligence, and two, what are your thoughts on the thinking, feeling loop and how that's keeping people stuck?
So this is going to be slightly abstract, but I'll ground it. I met a stack of billionaires, like had lunch, dinners, pitched them, whatever, been in their presence. And I asked every single one of them, you know, what lights you up, dude? You know, like, what's exciting in your life? You know, like, I tried to sort of like knock on the door and see the human, not just have the meaning. And yeah, most of them were miserable. You know, they might have had all the money in the world, but they were broken inside. Not true for a couple, and the couple that I met, like one individual especially, was definitely contribution focused. You know, like was definitely looking at collective ideas and playing in an impact zone for sure. I say all of that to say I think that wealth is I think, you know, like Wealth is a personal experience. Rich is an objective one. Rich is like black and white. It's on paper. It's on ledger. You have X multiple of your means and it's locked away.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas wealth is a very subjective experience. You know, like I've got friends that, you know, are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and friends that live in a van. And I've frankly got friends who live in a van who are happier, you know, on some levels. So who's wealthier? I don't know. You know, I think it's very subjective. As far as the thinking feeling loop goes, I think some people make it work is actually how I think about the thinking feeling loop. Some people have like kind of regulated it. They're like, okay, yeah, I'm aware that I go through these cycles, and they just like roll with it. They surf the waves. Whereas some people, it's just making them insane. Like it's actually, and it's thinking, feeling without necessarily fully getting into the somatic side of feeling. That's what I've observed, at least. People who are in thinking, feeling loops that can't get out or can't regulate don't actually drop right into the somatics of it. They don't drop down into
somatic,
really
meaning the feeling
in the body,
the emotion in the actual body. Yeah.
In the body. Yeah, they stay in the emotion rather than the body. That's what I've kind of observed.
Would you say that's the label of the emotion? So I talk about thinking, you think, and then you have an emotion, energy in your body, and then we name it, we give it a feeling. And so what I find in regards to that is that people are actually
thinking about the names first.
The label. Yeah. So they're like, oh, I feel this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a similar vein of thinking on that.
Because there's like 108 emotions on the traditional emotions wheel that's out there. And when I teach this, it's like there is no emotional curriculum in Australia, at least, in any of our national curriculum. It comes down to the teacher. And even in our early years, you know, we maybe teach mad, sad, glad. Like people know like 3 emotions. Some people will know like 5. And it's like anger. It's just like any of the negative emotions. It's like, oh, I'm either sad or angry. And there's this whole range that comes with it. And even understanding the difference between nervous and anxious.
Yeah. And even like the limitations of English, like in Latin, isn't there like 5 different types of love, not just singular? Yeah, for sure.
So one of the things that I really focus on with my clients and the people I work with is like, do you understand the difference between envy and jealousy? Because envy is a really great emotion to have to help you work out what you actually desire. And do you understand what hate is? Do you understand what resentment is versus anger? Do you know what rumination is? Do all of these things? It helps.
I'm imagining you as like a wine connoisseur of feelings in this moment. Oh, it's got a little bit of resentment.
Because we can feel more than one emotion at once.
Right.
And that gets people confused and scared, like terrified. So they just dissociate.
Yeah.
And then if they go into association, meaning I'm feeling, I'm fully in it, they're unsure of what to do with it. And we are in a world where so many people, we've been going for independence. We've been going for individualism. And we are a herd species. And so when we have people going for individualism and you're celebrated for that, we actually have learned how to dissociate because we don't know how to self-regulate.
Yeah.
And so then what we're doing is co-regulating off each other, and we're co-regulating off dysregulated nervous systems. And so hence why we have the world that we have. And right now, meaning end of 2025, we have the children who were born in COVID, so conceived and born in COVID, are about to start school in Australia. So they're about to go to primary school. We've got the same children who started primary school in COVID going into high school. And we've got the children who started high school coming out of high school now. Like we as fucked in an optimistic way. There is optimism to that. But we have this moment where we have so many people who in critical transition periods of their life experience collective trauma, experience dissociation. So the lack of ability to self-regulate is a major issue we have, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, this idea of an externalized nervous system is an interesting one. And I feel like everyone slips in and out of doing it. Like, I mean,
100%.
like it's not a fixed object. I think I think just even the idea of it, just even naming it externalized nervous system, allows you to think through objectively changing your environment to like NLP level, like environment level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like when I catch myself when I've externally regulated too much, because I'm like, oh, this is cool. What drove that? You know, like I get excited and interested in that because it's usually some part of myself that I haven't been welcoming. It's a rejection of some part of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like they've been my favorite personal growth moments is where I've been like rejecting something.
Things we reject the most are usually the things that are most for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as a man, like it's pretty common to reject what you desire. And like Taoists kind of believe that a man gets what he wants by attending to his needs, and a woman gets what she needs by attending to, like, expressing her wants. That's like a little bit of a Taoist frame, which I quite like. But it has this negative side effect, you know, which is you don't express your wants. Sometimes you're kind of jamming them down, you know. And yeah, I love catching myself in these moments where I've like rejected a desire repeatedly or something and going, oh, like this is this part of me that I'm pushing outside of myself and like not welcoming this part of myself right now. And yeah.
There's a guilt. So values levels plays a massive role in the work that I do as a foundational concept. And so values level 4, the number one emotion is guilt. And values level 4 is systems and order, which was so necessary for our evolution as humans. But guilt is the number one emotion. And so if you desire something, you feel guilt, and sometimes we'll then turn that guilt into shame. Not sometimes, most of the time. And so we are living heavily in a society where a lot of people feel shame and don't speak about it. And then if we're independent individuals, we have less people to talk to. So we have this shame spiral, this frequency in which we run out. And then you start to desire things, and then you'll feel guilty. And when you can break out of that loop and realize that desire is required for us individually to progress towards who we're meant to be and what we actually want to get the most out of this, when you can start to open yourself up to values level 5, which is achievement and entrepreneurship, it doesn't mean you have to go out and start a business. You can, but you start to think innovatively, if that's a word. You start to think outside the box in which has been created around you. So that environment becomes critical. The people you spend your time with, the things that you read, the things that you consume. You start to learn, if I create, then I desire, the things that I desire seem to come to fruition more. So we're in this sort of like consume, create, which I believe is the thinking, feeling loop in a different way. And so one of the biggest things that people who are feeling guilt and shame that I get them to do is to create somehow in a way that works for them, because every human is creative. Yeah. Every human.
I like that. My stepson and I made a little 2x2 diagram probably 2 years ago now, where we had create, consume on one of the spectrums, and then on the other spectrum we just had good, bad, which was, you know, pretty generic. But basically what we realized is we were both watching too much TV and whatever, and we're like, okay, let's watch the exact same amount of TV, but let's move it to good content, like useful, like personal growth, development, whatever. So rather than trying to create first, we kind of went from continue consuming, but just increase the amount of consuming stuff that's utilitarian, good, and then move to create, you know, like, and creating. The main form of creating that people do is usually the negative self-talk. That's actually, so that's on that bad side of.
Well, how are we using our imagination?
Yeah, yeah, and. I actually learned something really cool. This was like one of those Instagram reels recently. Mossad, the like Israeli intelligence or whatever, you know, when you get trained there, whenever you experience something negative, they get trained to say data received the second it happens. So like if a bomb goes off, it's like data received. Then start passing through the thoughts, like start going through it. but you utilize that internally when you've got negative self-talk.
Very cool.
Yeah, you go like, you're just like, I should have done this. You're such a pathetic, blah, blah, blah. And you go, data received. Okay. Da, 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 da. Like, it's an interesting tool. I've been using it for the last few weeks. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and like, it's interesting. I haven't seen that reel, but I was just working with a client and talking about how all the things that are happening around her is just data. And it's just how we filter it. We don't have to make everything mean something else. If you just look at it as data, it's actually helping her to start to regulate. And so without knowing that, it's just like, and this is why I'm so passionate about AD, auditory digital thinking. It doesn't have to be a negative in society. Many, many people will talk about, we're too AD. I think that actually more people to have more discernment when they make, because everybody's making decisions and choices, but how do people have more discernment so that those choices that they're making are in alignment with who they want to be? Discernment requires thinking something through, not just feeling. You will, once you have all of your rep systems, you will have your intuition online. So when you receive data, you'll run it through your filters faster. But that whole data received is a really great pattern, break state.
Yeah. Just anything negative.
Yes.
I kind of started adding thank you to the end of it because it was a little bit robot, which is actually a softener too.
Yeah.
It's like, I got a criticism recently from someone that I care about deeply. I was like, data received, thank you. And then I was like, oh.
I'm really grateful for this. Fuck you at the same time. I get that. That's thinking, feeling at the same time. So for me, like I feel like people can go on this or start this personal development journey and they think that, they're wrong or that they're broken or that they've got to pretend they're not broken, and they'll change the word from good to great as a pattern state. And then great just becomes good. And then when they feel something that is deemed negative, they then feel like they can't talk to anybody about it because now they should be at this new frequency. And this is the problem I have with manifestation as well. It's like we are a human and we have the whole spectrum of the human experience. And what people will call negative state emotions are important to understand and experience so that you know the entire range of the emotions that are available to us.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we have to go on that roller coaster, but at least we know the breadth and the width and the depth of what life is, the color that I believe it is. But it's just about realizing that once you start this journey, like I talk about, the work never ends, because it doesn't. We're continually growing, and as a human and universal law, it wants progress.
Yeah.
We will continue to progress whether we're conscious or unconscious to it. And so it's not about getting another piece of paper. It's not about going to this because all of these people know the answers. It's important to learn, but it's also important to know and understand your value, which is why I believe values work is so important. And so I believe there's an opportunity with what's going on in AI and who we are and the thinking and the feeling and the whole lived self that we have, and how to utilize these tools to help ourselves get into alignment, in whatever that looks like. So with the identity alignment mapping we do with Life by 8, we talk about, you've got human design and then you've got your lived experience. And so that includes, love languages, rep systems, your attachment theory, all of those things. That's your lived self. And how do you utilize who you are right now without shame, and to move into the alignment of what your natural, energetic blueprint may be?
Yeah.
And there are ways in which you can do that and self-coach yourself. And there is times when you can have the discernment to know that you need a third party and external, perspective. That saves a lot of people money and time and energy and helps them get results faster, in my belief. So can you talk about, A-player brains and what you believe that framework and that methodology can do for individuals in society?
So I think, like, A-player brains, I didn't want to call it this because it sounds too, dystopian, but they're basically mental exoskeletons, meaning I want to do this thing. Like, I want to go and learn how to build a rocket, whatever I want to do, right? I need a particular set of skills, frames, lenses, knowledge base, all these things to be able to go do that stuff. Or I could just put my head inside an A-player brain and do it immediately. And the way in which that would look is, let me give you a really visceral idea of this. So the visceral idea of this, if you think about something like golf, the game golf, right? You may have already seen this, but there's augmented reality versions of golf that's happening where you put a set of goggles on and there's a screen that goes, hit the ball on this angle at this trajectory, swing your club back this far. It gives you a little indicator, makes a sound in your ear to let you know, release the club and hit the ball. And you're going to hit the ball like it's like using bumper lanes at bowling alley, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's going to be easier to get the ball where it's meant to go. And of course, you're still a novice who's using a tool to augment you to make you closer to an expert faster. But that's what we have the tooling to do. I literally actually saw this. I was in Singapore, would have been 9 years ago at a tech festival. And I saw this stand at the expo and I was doing some crypto stuff there or whatever. But the stand there was a set of AR goggles. And it was working with doctors in remote locations where a heart surgeon could get on with a GP. The GP put the headset on, and the GP is the only person who's like qualified enough to pick up a scalpel in that environment at that time because they're not going to, the flying doctors aren't going to save them in time. Do you know what I mean? So it's like augmented reality. Okay, we're doing heart surgery. Let's go. Like put the goggles on. Let's go. And that's what A-player brains is. But it's anything you need to do, whether it's your BAS statement or your, you want to make a website or you want to do a thing. It's just like instant access to expertise to be able to do the thing you need to do right then and there and just move through it.
Awesome. And so what do you think for people who are currently using AI just like Google, what is their first, what could they do first to immediately see impact in their business and their lives?
Need to find the bottleneck. Need to find where the drag is, the inertia. Where does time go to die? Where does money go to die in the business? Fix the actual problem that's going to make an impact. Like the way to make an impact is not to focus on the goal or the hope or the dream or the vision. It's actually to look at what's the thing that's holding you back. Like you release the thing that's holding you back, and it's almost like letting a rubber band go. It's going to release a lot of energy and help you move much further and faster. Like hunt that inertia down.
Can you go deeper onto that? In regards to manifestation? Okay,
so first of all, manifestation, the way I see it done mostly in the world, is externalized hope.
Yes.
Whereas the way I like to achieve it is internalized hope. And the way you internalize hope is by being very pragmatic. It's like, yes, it's connecting to your desired outcomes within yourself and feeling through it all and somatically working through any blockages you might have. But it's also increasing your skills. It's increasing your capacity, your capabilities. It's working on yourself, like literally, not just figuratively, so.
But that would mean I'd have to do something.
Yeah. I think that. Like, we're literally talking about A-player brains being like an augmentation to your brain to enable you to do stuff you couldn't do before, right? So that means doing. Like, that literally means doing. You can't... Yes. Yes. Yeah. If you want to go and become one of those Wall-E slush puppy slurping people who sit in their space chairs, that option will be available. I'm sure that'll be a lane.
And that's my concern, is this ability where we've got people who can't get jobs because we don't have enough, and then we've just got the laziness, the natural human tendency to go the easiest route.
I think the wealth gap is nothing compared to the intellectual gap that's coming. There's the brain gap that's coming is going to be way bigger than the wealth gap. Ginormously more obvious.
And how do you see that impacting the world?
I mean, I actually think the wealth gap was one of the most positive things that happened throughout human history, because you have less people that are starving, less people that are, have the same medical conditions. People live on average 20, 30 years longer. Like, there's all sorts of benefits that have happened from the wealth gap. So I think it's a polarity being stretched. I don't think a polarity being stretched is inherently bad. I think it will look bad, though. Like brain slop is going to look bad, someone is just like demanding things from their Wall-E chair with their sippy cup is going to look bad, you know. I don't think it's inherently bad, though, that we keep enabling people who want to, you know, be psychonautic into doing cool new things and thinking in new ways. I don't think that's bad. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have like a moral framework for this time, because I think we're birthing a new one together. And I think, like, you know, I've hit this wall before when I've thought a lot about capitalism and money-making models. I spent a decade really thinking about it. And I got to this idea of, like, regenerative capitalism is essentially the endpoint that I want. But I don't like any of the theatre or greenwashing or any of the stuff that happens around it. That's all bullshit to me. I just like the idea of trying to kind of, like, almost reverse entropy, you know? Like, that to me is, like, an interesting idea. And I think it's the same with this brain rot stuff, like, where the world's going, the intellectual divide. It's going to be like, we don't know what's coming. We're birthing it. Like, you can't, you know, how much did you know what the world looked like when your head was in the birth canal? Not much, you know. You were just like, oh, I'm in it. I think that's where we're at. We're in it, you know.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So, what's
great
next?
Visual.
I know. I'm just like that reminds me of a psilocybin journey that I went on. We won't go there. I guess where I want to start to wrap up the conversation, because I know that you and I could talk for hours on different things. I have this belief that we are in the beginning of something completely new for humanity, yes. Mm-hmm. And I believe that the rise in neurodiverse children and labels and people's brains being different to the neurotypical mm-hmm. is linked to the rise in dementia and Alzheimer's, the forgetting of the programming.
Yeah.
And so what I want to ask my guests over the next sort of series is, what are your thoughts on the requirement for us to evolve faster than we have in the past because of where technology's at, and the link between or how you see the death of neurotypical happening and why? I
don't think neurotypicals ever existed. So, like, it's already dead to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it ever existed. I think we were just trying to, you know, build things on train tracks. We were trying to make them all go one direction and, you know, industrialize things and have things be clean. And I think the way in which we did systems originally was simplify. Now, the way in which we do systems in an AI world is we enhance the complexity we have. So the systematic framework now can handle complexity. Before it couldn't. It had to be shoved into a box. So fundamentally, the systems that we operate in have changed, like, already. It's our psyche's still catching up to it. But yeah, like, I don't think neurotypicals ever existed. I think it was just, get in line, here's your marching orders, you know, like, that's what it was like. I do think that I think that if someone has the skills and the drive to do something, right now is a great time to do it, because I do see, I mean, this is like, I feel like such an old person saying this.
You've got the grey going on.
I got the grey going on. But I see a lot more apathy in these younger generations right now than I did in my generation. It's like there was like more entrepreneurial kids in my grade than maybe there are in my kids' grades at school right now. And I'm like, that's really interesting. Like, there's less drive. And their dopamine circuits are treated so differently. Like, the way in which their dopamine loop's so much different to ours, you know? Yeah. I remember being bored a lot more as a child than my kids are. Yeah, like,
or if they say I'm bored, it's like literally like 2 minutes.
It's been 2 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, and we've even evolved. Like, we're in a line and a lot of people just pull out their phone.
Yeah.
You're just in a queue, and we used to not have that. So I think that's where I believe, like, the evolution, and we're seeing all the systems collapse, like schooling not working the way that it is, which is why I'm so passionate about Montessori. The health system, the justice system, and even the rise in youth crime, like, all of these things. Yeah, like, it's all mapped. Like, when Snapchat came out, youth crime in Australia grew at the same time. Like, the data points of where change has happened and so rapidly versus the systems that were in place. Like it does not sync anymore.
Yeah.
And so I do feel like the collapse or the rapid decline is happen. We're in it, but it's going to happen almost simultaneously all at once.
Yeah, it's interesting observing too the disconnect between all the medias we have. Like, for example, my grandmother and my parents still watch like mainstream media. I don't, and I'm on social media, but I'm on like Facebook and Instagram, and sometimes LinkedIn and sometimes X, and then next generation down, they're on Snapchat. Like, and so like the communication divide in those like 3 age groups is massive, giant. I do think if you want to speak to the younger generations right now, YouTube is the only place you can get to them. Like, I actually think that, which is, an interesting strategy overall. But yeah, like there's a giant communication gap.
Great.
Yeah.
And so what's next for you?
I'm in an interesting space at the moment. So I'm consulting for a few different companies simultaneously, like kind of, I guess, acting as kind of some sort of innovation, sort of external innovation team that's doing internal projects. And it's been cool. It's been good. It's been fun doing stuff that I don't know how to do every single day, doing stuff I don't know how to do every single day, which has been great. The dopamine hits have been huge. But yeah, look, I mean, it's been really fun getting, quality consulting fees plus percentage of the upside of some bigger projects, which is fun. So doing that, I don't know. I actually don't really know what's on the horizon for me. Like, I want to complete this next book, which was meant to be the first book, which was Fuck Scarcity. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of watching and waiting. I also have a couple of little app ideas that I've been toying with and playing with, and I'm going to build one. Like, I'm going to build one this Christmas, like, gap, couple of weeks. I'm just going to knock one out for myself.
It's my favourite time of year.
A little app that I've been thinking about for some time, which is like a relationship management pipeline. For, like the kind of the type of contacts you'd never put in a CRM, which is like most of the important ones.
Yeah.
I got a little idea for that, so I'm going to play it, and I'll show you it when I knock it out. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of like, I have 2 very, very, very clear ideas as to how I'm going to scale A Player Brains for myself. And so maybe there's a giant play that I make next year again for the first time in several years. Maybe there's not. Maybe I just keep popping in and consulting and, helping other people play bigger games. I don't know. And I'm so loving not knowing, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just enjoying digital nomad mode, enjoying, just doing something I'm doing something every single day I've never done before, which is like, it's major.
It's so important because we are in a moment of uncertainty, and the ability to enjoy the journey, the ability to be okay with not knowing, is a skill set that if more people can experience that, if more people can get themselves to that place of enjoying the uncertainty, they are going to be able to have a great experience in this change that we're going through as humans. And I feel like that's the piece. It's the uncertainty and the amount of change that's coming. So
yeah, I think if you've ever thought or felt that something was too complex or just out of your reach, now's the time to go for that.
I'm learning ballet.
Yeah.
I'm learning Muay Thai.
For me, it's like coding. Like, I could never. Like, I'm dyslexic, whatever. I got some labels, right? I got some labels.
Yeah.
And I, for whatever reason, maybe it's just my cowboy nature, like my pirate-like nature, could not corral code in good ways before, because I just like, if you have a comma out of place, the whole thing can go to crap. And now I can move through it so quickly with the tools, I'm like, oh, this is fascinating, because I always understood the architecture but never was able to execute it. So I think if you understand something conceptually right now, this is the greatest time in history to dive into something you only understand conceptually, because you're only, you know, a handful of little tiny tasks or projects away from like going from conceptual to somewhat embodied rapidly, which is freakishly good, you know. Yeah, I like literally the last 12 months I've done wildly different things, from, you know, like successful grant writing, successfully changing an entire sales system in a very established business, you know, doing quantitative analysis, coding projects that I've never coded before. I built an API from scratch the other day. Like all these things that are like not interrelated, completely separate, and just able to do it because I can put my head through those A-player brains, because I spent a long time figuring out how to do that. But putting my head through these like expert lenses and then just like going, right, I'm going to like not be an instant expert, but be a qualified novice at least, you know, like.
And that's where I think like one of the movies that we got people to watch was Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
I was at one of your events before we did Imaginate Together, and you spoke about the movie, and I was like watching it in the lunch break as soon as you had mentioned it. And that's the thing, right? It's like we can hear the things and we can think the thoughts, but we have to do the things. So
yeah, direct experience is the drug. It's the real drug, you know. Like,
absolutely. Yeah. And so the more you can become comfortable with uncertainty, the less fear you will experience. Therefore, the more energy you will have to actually create.
Yeah.
But it's the consuming that's keeping a lot of people stuck, but you have to consume with the intent to create.
Yeah. And I think just sit down in uncertainty. Like if you have a concept that you want to follow, sit down in the uncertainty and then welcome all parts of you. The part of you that's scared, the part of you that knows it probably won't work, the part of you that's hopeful that it will. Like just welcome all of those parts. Welcome them all in, you know. I used to, it was kind of over the top, but one of the ways I used to welcome parts of me in that didn't want to be in situations was I literally put an empty chair beside me at the table and like go, come on, scared little 5-year-old me, sit on the chair, come sit with daddy. Daddy will show you where we're going, you know, like that kind of thing. And yeah, just jump in the driver's seat. Like you can build crazy big dreams starting now. Like it's like your wildest, most hopeful, most dreamful, most imaginative life is plausible now. Not possible, plausible with the tools you've got. And if that terrifies you, then cool. Take the terrifiedness through the journey. Like, just take it on the journey with you. Go. Like, there's a one-way ticket to creating the world you want that you just got given. It's a first-class ticket. You've got all the tools, all the resources. There's nothing stopping you. And if there's stories that feel like they're true enough to stop you, then just bring those stories, welcome them along for the ride too. They can have another seat on the train. Like, let them come along.
And that's why I believe the importance of labels, because any words that follow I am is ultimately a label. And so they are the two most powerful words in the English language. And bring all of those, though, because you're not just going to have I am not good enough, I am dumb, I am... You're also going to have like I am kind, I am courageous. You're going to have all of those things. It's just looking at all of them and bringing all of those labels with you. And the labels help you make sense of who you are.
I am crazy enough.
You are. So to finish off, is there anything else you would like to share or say, Rossco, for those listening or watching?
I genuinely believe that you always have access to more than enough. This is like a fundamental belief I have, a view of the world. You always have access to more than enough. And if you feel like, you know, there's 6 or 7 problems standing in the way, usually to me, those obstacles or problems are just resources you haven't realized yet. And the way in which you turn them into resources is you have to find the inertia or the friction or the actual thing that's broken inside of it and then invert it. Like figure out how to solve it, figure out how to upskill yourself, build your capabilities, move through it. Like the obstacle is the way is the, you know, the Stoics version of this. To me, it's that your problems are just Lego bricks you haven't stacked in the right order yet to build what you want. Like, it's just like, just move them around. Like, keep moving around. There's like, you have what you need. You have more than enough. Like, the scarcity is a lie.
Thank you so much for being here and talking to us about thinking, and for bringing to life your brain, because it is changing the world. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Cheers.